Welcome to Run With It, an exciting show on running, fitness, and nutrition. Remember to always check with your doctor before starting any exercise program. On today's show, we have a report on Vancouver's first annual Color Run, tips for productive trail running, and an interview with vegan nutritionist Adam Hart. But first, we'd like to share the conversation we had with Dr. Sean Graham, chiropractor and former CFL football player, about sports injuries and how to deal with them. Welcome to the show, Sean.
Thanks, Christine.
So my first question to you, why does a runner get injured?
Well, there's a number of reasons why a runner would get injured. What I see in my practice is two main reasons. One is an acute type of injury and a chronic type of injury, or an overuse injury. So an acute injury, it's an injury where someone's been out there, say, running, and they're halfway through their run and they feel a sharp pain or a stabbing pain somewhere. And that's an injury where the muscle or the ligament that's injured has been pulled or strained. There's immediate pain, sometimes swelling. So that would be the first type of injury that we see. The second type is the chronic or an overuse injury. And generally these sort of injuries are developed over a number of weeks or months. And we see them in runners who they might be having a certain ache or pain somewhere and they keep pushing through it. And it might be due to various reasons, such as poor foot mechanics or poor footwear. It can be due to training methods. They're not following a proper training program. They're increasing their mileage too quickly. It could be due to their diet. They might not be getting enough of a certain nutrient or not eating enough calories. So it's generally due to a number of reasons why someone would develop a chronic or overuse type of injury.
I know you have a lot of fans from playing football,
Mm-hmm.
so how does that translate into what you're doing now?
Well, being an athlete and growing up playing sports, I always wanted to go into a field to give back to that sport. And so with being a chiropractor, I found that it was a very, very good way to be able to help athletes with a non-invasive, non-drug approach. So when I was growing up and when I was playing football, I found that the therapy I was getting was very cookie cutter. And with chiropractic, you're using your hands, you're thinking a lot of alternative ways to help someone, to keep them going, versus, say, surgery or drugs. So for me, that was kind of my main focus. And so when I was making that transition from football to becoming a chiropractor, I was able to use that knowledge from being on that side of the fence, so being an athlete and knowing how people were being treated for injuries and injury prevention, and I was able to take what I saw, things I didn't like and which I did like, and apply it to what I'm doing now. So in terms of making that transition, I think it was fairly easy for me. I made a lot of contacts through my playing years. I started in Winnipeg. I was drafted by Winnipeg. I played there for 3 years, and I came to BC. I played 4 years with the BC Lions. We won the Grey Cup in 2000, which was probably the highlight of my career there. And then I made that transition. I still work with the team. I still stay in contact with the trainer there, and we still work on the players weekly during the season. So there's a team of us that do that. So that's allowed me to stay in contact with the team, and that's the thing you miss when you stop playing, is that team atmosphere, that camaraderie, and it's something that I've been able to keep as I made that transition from football life to professional life.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
We'll be back with our interview with Dr. Sean Graham. But first, the good, the bad, and the ugly segment. And I'm going to talk about the hat. The good is to wear a hat in a race because you want to keep your head warm from the rain and the sun. The bad is that you lose it during the race because it wasn't on properly. And the ugly is that you don't wear a hat at all and you get rained on or you get sunburned. How important is cross-training in a program?
Well, I think it's quite important, especially with any sort of sport that's repetitive, like running, because in running you're using the same muscles over and over and over again in the same way, and so with cross training, what it does is it helps to take some of the strain and stress off those various parts of the body that you're constantly using in your running, and using other muscles. So if, for instance, a great activity to do as a cross-training activity to running is pool running. And the reason why that is you're still getting the cardiovascular training and fitness from the activity without the impact, because running is quite a high impact sport. So making sure you're picking a cross-training sport or activity that's not too similar to your current sport. So for instance, a runner, it wouldn't be great for them to go out and cross-train playing tennis, because you're using a lot of the same muscles running for the ball and that sort of thing. So you want to pick an activity that's a little bit different from your main activity. Yeah.
So what are some of the common injuries?
Well, the injuries that I see in my practice in runners are knee type of injuries. So what they call iliotibial band syndrome, which is an injury that the person develops usually on the outside part of their knee. So it's usually caused from repetitive strain on that area. The IT band, the iliotibial band or IT band, runs from your top of your hip down side of your leg. So that would be one main injury that I see. The other type of injuries are what we call shin splints, or the technical name for it is medial tibial stress syndrome, and that's where you have pain down the front of your shin, sometimes around the back of the leg into the calf area. We see those sort of injuries quite often. We do see some lower back injuries with the runners, but the main injury I would say would be lower leg type of injury. So like I was saying, with the knee and the lower leg.
So with injuries, what are some of the women injuries are more prone to, like hip injuries? Is that correct?
Generally with women, you do see a higher incidence of iliotibial band injuries, and that's due in part a couple of reasons. One is there's something called the Q angle, and it's a measurement of the angle between the hip and the knee. So when you measure that angle, generally women, because they have a wider Q angle or wider hips, that creates more of an angle from their hip to their knee, and so that puts more tension on that part of the leg or the iliotibial band. That's one reason. The other reason generally is the ligaments and the joints in women are generally a little bit more lax or looser. And you see that a lot in soccer players, not maybe as much in runners, but you see a higher incidence of ACL injuries in female athletes, and it's partly due to the fact that their ligaments are a little bit looser than men, and there's hormonal reasons for that. Even they've looked at studies where they've had higher incidence of ACL injuries at certain times in their cycle because of the hormonal differences. So those are a few reasons why women have a higher incidence of injury.
Sean, do you see people, well, I should say runners, getting more injured, like leading up to a marathon or a half marathon distance?
Generally, yeah. I see a higher incidence of injuries probably from the midpoint to near the end of their training before a big race. Partly that's due to the fact that a lot of athletes are pushing themselves through certain aches and pains, knowing that, say, they have a race a month from now and they can't take the time off. But in actual fact, what they should be doing is taking the time off, getting treatment or dealing with that ache or that pain before it becomes a problem, because a lot of times people try to push through it, and by the time they get to the race, they're only functioning at 80%, and they're increasing their risk of injury. So a lot of times it's better to take the time off, take a week off, let your body heal, and a lot of times they'll find that their performance will be a lot better because of that. Yeah.
So what are the new advanced techniques?
Well, there's a couple of new injury prevention techniques that have surfaced in the last, say, decade. One is something that a lot of people have seen in the recent Olympics lately. It's called kinesio tape, and it's you'll see them on a lot of athletes on their backs, their legs, and so forth. It's this tape that has elastic fiber woven into it, and it can be applied to a muscle to either facilitate a muscle, say a muscle that's strained or injured, and we can apply the tape to that part of the body to help strengthen it or facilitate it. And the other way the tape is used is to help to decrease muscle spasm or muscle tightness in a muscle. So we can apply the tape in a certain way that helps to decrease that, that tightness or that spasm in the muscle. Other techniques that have come up in the last decade or so is a technique called active release therapy. And it's a form of soft tissue therapy that a lot of therapists use, a lot of chiropractors, massage therapists, physiotherapists use. And it's a way of breaking up any scar tissue or adhesions in the muscle that has developed up over time. And it's a great way or a great adjunct to other types of therapy. And it started with triathletes actually, and it kind of got notoriety in that field, and then it eventually spread to other sports. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Christine.
We're here at the first Color Run event in Vancouver. Thousands of runners are dressed in white t-shirts, ready to get splashed on with color, and so am I. So let's run with it.
We're going to have over 7,000 people participate in the event today.
And how did people learn about this event?
It's whether it be through social media, a Facebook page, the Color Run Canada Facebook page has almost 40,000 followers. We've done a great partnership with the Beat, as well as a great charitable partner here in Kids Sport Vancouver.
Why should people participate in this event?
It's the happiest 5K on the planet. That's explanation enough right there.
How is it different from other races?
The difference is you have a mix of people, so it's not necessarily people who are trying to get a personal best. It's people that want to get out, want to be active, and really want to embrace the color mantra of be happy, be healthy, be you.
And so take me through the run. What's going to take place? Everyone's dressed in white t-shirts and...
Everyone's dressed in white t-shirts, and when they get to each kilometer, there's going to be a color zone, and that color zone is going to be a different color, and as they run through it, there'll be great volunteers that we have here from the City of Vancouver that will shower them with color, and they'll finish the 5-kilometer race and be a different shade of colors, a mix of the pink, the blue, the yellow, and the orange that we have out on course.
And this is the first event, correct?
This is the first event in Vancouver, yes.
So how did you enjoy the run?
It was so much fun.
You look so colorful like me.
Loved it, yeah.
Will you do it again?
Definitely, yes.
If you're new to trail running or looking for a change of scenery, here are some trail running tips to help make your trail running experience more enjoyable. Number 1, wear trail running shoes or with a good traction. Number 2, wear 2 pairs of socks for extra comfort. Number 3, dress for the weather. Wear sweat-wicking fabrics. Number 4, be safe out there. Carry a whistle, carry ID, and also watch where you're running so you won't trip and fall. Trail running is a good workout. It is low impact on your legs, and it's good for your core. Adam Hart is a vegan nutritionist. He talks to us about the benefits of following a plant-based diet.
Have you always been a fan of following a plant-based diet?
No. I got into the plant-based diet after being very unhealthy, and then discovering the ways to get healthy kept leading me to eating more plant-based foods. So I've just learned how to incorporate them more and more, and realized that I could eliminate all the illness that I was suffering from just from adding more of these beautiful plant-based foods into my diet.
So how did you go about it? Like, how did you find out?
It's quite a long story. I was pre-diabetic at 26, and given a lot of prescription drugs, high cholesterol. I was asthmatic back then. I had a lot of food allergies. I was 40 pounds overweight. So very unhealthy, suffering with depression and anxiety back then as well. And really wanted something more to my life than what I was doing and how I was surviving, really. And I got into the outdoors. I got into rock climbing. I wanted to get into athletics a little bit more because, I was overweight, not healthy. And I discovered indoor rock climbing, which led to me going outdoor rock climbing. And pretty quick, I got addicted to the sensation of being in nature, and really started to nurture myself on another level that I never really knew existed for me before. And as I grew the love for myself and got into nature more and got more athletic, my health just started to take a real big swing upwards. And I had lost all the weight. I had my cholesterol started to get under control. And at the same time, it started leading me towards better nutrition. And I realized pretty quick that my heavy processed food diet and heavy meat and dairy based diet wasn't serving me. And the more I brought in more plant-based foods, the easier it was for me to achieve the goals I had for athletics and pretty much all areas of my life.
So there are two areas like processed foods and plant foods. Foods, correct?
That's right.
And would you say there are a lot of North Americans, they are looking for healthy choices and, being healthy, and it's like, adding chia seeds and quinoa and
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, this is, I guess, the idea of the magic pill. I mean, we all would love it to be very easy just to wake up one morning and be unbelievably happy and unbelievably healthy. And obviously there's no magic pill, but the closest thing to that is plant-based foods. I mean, it's not a matter of having to give up all the cookies and, the cakes and the treats that we love to eat. It's a matter of understanding that we just have to learn some of these beautiful plant-based foods that we can start to bring into our current diet that will help counteract, I call it the TLC, the toxic load count. So the amount of toxicity that we have in our bodies, a lot of that comes from the processed foods that we're eating and all the wrong kinds of food. So as we bring in some more of these beautiful foods, you get a little of the other side of the TLC, which is that tender loving care piece. So the more you bring in, the more you can really start to flourish and nourish and feel pretty fantastic. And you didn't have to give up all the negative stuff. So the seeds are great, one of those great, groups of power foods, like the chia seeds and flax seeds, and hemp seeds by far is my number one food. To just start adding those in, and it's amazing how you start to feel fantastic.
So you can have that cake and eat it too.
Absolutely. Yeah, just sprinkle some hemp seeds on the cake and you're good.
Okay. Or you can put chia seeds on your cereal.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, that's the idea.
And it's not difficult, it's just knowing about it.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's, again, this concept that we don't know what we don't know. So how do you know unless somebody shares the information with you? And so for me, it's my mission in life now. I found that purpose is to just share this information as much as I possibly can, because it's something that allowed me to feel a lot healthier without having to overhaul my whole lifestyle. And I know it's doing the same for thousands of others who have gotten that message and are really engaging it. I think there's maybe a lack of belief around the idea that it could be this easy. We tend to complicate things as humans. We know we want the quick fix and we want it to be easy, but we don't believe it could be easy. So that's a big barrier for us, that we think it has to be something that we have to go through a medical system for, or we need a prescription for, or we need to start going to the gym 6, 7, 8 days a week. And that's not the reality. The small little steps and little things that we add in make a huge difference and actually allow for us to thrive.
And so what are the steps? Like, are there 3 steps?
Yeah, I kind of have a model that I put myself through that essentially is 4 steps. Now, this might sound a little spacey, some of this information, but the first step for me is getting grounded. And getting grounded means being in nature as much as possible. I have found that as I lived my go, go, go lifestyle way back in the day, I still do, but now I live it more consciously. But in the past, it was just always reactive, always trying to keep up with things and not really mindful of how I was feeling. As soon as I got into nature, I started to ground myself. I started to become more conscious of how I was feeling. And so I think there's a real disconnect for a lot of us that aren't really engaging that part of who we are. We're just living a life, surviving and reacting, as opposed to really being part of the process. So getting grounded is step 1. So that just means being in nature as much as possible, going for walks as much as you can, sitting by a tree and just looking at it for a few seconds. Very powerful. So that's kind of the step 1. Step 2 is having an intention. You really have to know what you want. So if it's health, for me, I wanted to be healthier. I wanted to have, clean lungs and vibrant energy. So without knowing that, then it's kind of a lot of chaos and keep going this perpetual cycle of chaos. So I started to write down all the things that I wanted, like a published book and things like that. And so that was the second part. And then step 3 is controlling our blood sugar. And that's kind of the key piece that allows us to really start to go after the intentions, the things that we really want in our lives. Instead of always being reactive, as soon as you start to control your blood sugar, you start to realize that you have the power to then make decisions and make choices that allow it to become easy to actually manifest those intentions. And then the fourth final step is to just practice. Keep doing all step 1, 2, and 3 over and over and over again as much as you possibly can. And then all of a sudden you look around you and you have abundance.
That's awesome. And how long does it take to feel that energy, abundance?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as far as the controlling the blood sugar, that happens within a matter of days. Depending on what you're doing and how you're doing it, you can do it with, as easy as adding hemp seeds, 4 to 6 tablespoons of hemp seeds every single day into whatever it is you're eating. You'll notice within a couple of days that you'll have, lower food cravings, less sugar cravings. Your energy levels will start to level off, and you don't have to change your diet. You're just adding something in. So a lot of this actually happens pretty fast. It's not a matter of years and months, but within days.
So how does it make you feel like you're helping others? Like your mission is to be healthy and be the expert. So how does it make you feel when you see clients and they're like, oh, I feel much better?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the reason I do what I do. It's that connection. It's the exchange of energy. It fuels the passion to be able to share this kind of information in a way that's accessible. I think a lot of times when we're thinking about getting healthy, and whether it's one of our family members, our uncle, our brother, our sister, our mother, whoever it is, and somebody's got cancer or diabetes, and they're kind of down and out, and you see them going through their own personal struggles and trying to get healthier. It's nice to be able to give some tools to somebody in that position, or a family member who wants to share that with a loved one, where it can guide them into a different direction that actually allows them to feel like they can do something about where they're at.
Adam, congratulations. You've written 2 books.
Right on.
So can you tell me the book that's closest to you, The Power of Food?
Sure, yeah. Well, the first book I wrote was called E3 for Life, and it was a self-published book that I had put out myself, did all my own distribution, so it was quite a bit of work, and it was great though. I got a lot of great traction on it and sold quite a few copies, which led to The Power of Food, which has North America distribution. And happy to say that after the first month, came out in June, and after the first month became a Canadian bestseller, which is great. It's again, it's part of that intention piece. I put it out there that's what I was looking for. I wanted to be able to share on a bigger scale and get more people really connecting to their health in a way that's easy, and that's what The Power of Food's all about. It actually starts off walking through my story and all the different health ailments that I had suffered from. There's a picture of when I was a little bit heavier, 40 pounds overweight there, and so it really outlines what I was suffering from, and at the same time I shared my 12 action steps that I took that allowed me to really start to engage my health in a healthy way. And I mentioned 4 just now a little bit earlier, but here it goes through all 12 of those, and as well walks through all the different foods, all the power foods, the plant-based foods, and I highlight 24 of the key foods to start including on a daily basis. So like here it mentions the power of cashews. So teach you all about cashews and how to use it every day. Goes through all the different seeds, all the different nuts, all the different grains, all the different legumes, and the fruits and vegetables. And then there's recipes, over 100 recipes on how to start using all these awesome foods in a way that's very easy. So how to make your own hemp milk, which you can make a liter of hemp milk. And so you got a jar of hemp milk, it's about that big, and it costs you maybe $1. $1. Yeah, and it's way more efficient for you nutritionally than any milk will ever be. So it's one of those things that's great, easy to do, and great for the whole family. So if you want to get your kids involved, especially if they're athletic, then these foods are really going to help them to thrive in their athletics. A lot of the presentations that I've done over the last 10 years or so, everybody kept asking me, Adam, I love this information you're sharing with me. Can you please give it to me in some sort of a manual? And that's where the book came from. So The Power of Food came out because of the demand that people were asking for me. And everyone kept saying, well, Adam, I love all these foods you keep sharing with me. Now I got to go to the grocery store and I got to pick them all out and try and find ways to use it. Can you please share the food with me in a way that's easy and convenient? So that's where this comes from. This is a new line of food products that I formulated and created, and it's going to hit grocery store shelves in a couple weeks. And it's called Raw Energy, and it's essentially just a real nice, convenient way to start adding in all these beautiful plant-based foods that I talk about in a way where you don't have to eliminate your diet in any way. You just add it to it, so it comes in a nice shaker, and you just shake it right into whatever you're eating, and it helps to stabilize your blood sugar, give you all the right nutrients that you're looking for in a way that's very efficient. So it's all seed-based, and like I'd mentioned, hemp is my number one food, so that's the number one ingredient in here is hemp. And then it's got some sprouted buckwheat, some sesame seeds, there's some chia seeds, flax seed as well. It's a really great all-around nutrient booster without having to, again, give up anything. I mean, if you're a trail runner, a road runner, whatever that is, more plant-based food just makes you more efficient. I mean, there's so much information out there now on the power of proper nutrients, or at least easier to assimilate nutrients. And it's I think it's really hitting more mainstream now that it's not meat and dairy. It's just, I mean, it's not that that's bad. I'm not saying not to eat those things, but if we really want to live as efficiently as possible and really have the health we're looking for, then the plant-based world is mostly where we're going to get that from.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks for watching. On our next show, we'll have coverage of the first annual Concrete Hero event, our Good, the Bad, and Ugly segment, and a whole lot more. So keep those emails coming. Until next time, run with it.